Modern world where people are trying to teach you how to come in and trade actively in stocks. Well, I regard that as roughly equivalent to trying to induce a bunch of young people to start off on heroin.
$26 into $26,000 in 2 months, and I only learned how to trade in 2 days. I think 2 might be my lucky number. I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it, so stay tuned. You're not gonna wanna miss this video. All right, let's get into it.
It is really stupid. And when you're already rich, to make your money by encouraging people to get rich by trading. And then there are people on the TV, another wonderful place. And they say, I have this book that will teach you how to make 300% a year. And all you have to do is pay for shipping, and I will mail it to you.
This is real. This is fake. And they went, and their brains are going like this. Right. So the reason I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad and my games and all this is our schools have no financial education.
Yeah, true.
So what we have are people all over the world working for fake money.
How likely is it that a person who had suddenly found a way to make 300% a year would be trying to sell books on the internet to you? And it's ridiculous. And yet, I've described modern commerce.
Scared money don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I'm gonna make a video.
If your man sells e-com courses, get a new one.
100.
Okay, so today's episode will be on internet gurus. These online gurus that are either marketed themselves as some sort of Forex trading expert, cryptocurrency expert, or they have an e-commerce course in one of the two expertise. Sometimes it's on Amazon sales, selling things on Amazon.
Yo, so look, I want to go over some of your tweets. If your man sells e-com courses, get a new one.
100.
That's what the focus of today's episode will be on. I will cover and go through different aspects of this, the dark marketing tactics that they use, sometimes indirectly or directly funded by some sort of app that is related to Forex trading, sometimes with cryptocurrencies as well, alongside the necessity of some of these e-commerce courses. Who does this secretly benefit? Why are we psychologically pulled to these people? When do they catch us? What kind of moments of vulnerability? And alongside that, I'll also be covering cryptocurrencies. Are they profitable? Are they something that we need and see as a necessity in the world? Is it the innovation of the future, or is it a Ponzi scheme? Ooh. However, before we get into that, before I forget, this is not financial advice, and this is all for educational purposes. Yeah, I've always wanted to say that. Always wanted to say that. However, without further ado, I'm going to need you to do me one big favor before we get into the episode, and that's please like, comment, share, and subscribe. In order for this channel to grow, I'm going to need your support. I'm going to need your assistance. So please, if this is the first time at the channel, subscribe. Put into the comments what you like. Put into comments what you dislike. If it's a recurring channel that you've been on, please put into the comments what you liked and what you want to hear next. I need you in order to grow.
And who are the most likely to invest in crypto? Young, lonely men who've been trodden on by society and the red pill, many of whom find themselves in financial dire straits, who are told that women only want money, which makes them particularly receptive to the red pill Kiyosaki message. But for Kiyosaki, now 76 years of age, entering the red pill sphere just seems like such a low-level move to make.
The world of influencer, internet gurus, social media gurus, they seem to pop out of nowhere. Sometimes that will be the biggest red flag if they haven't been trading for years and all of a sudden they are internet gurus, big red flag. Sometimes just look at the lineage and the history of some of the people who have come out as gurus, and it kind of gives away that they're probably on a sort of fraudulent myth, get rich quick off vulnerable people scheme. But it's a dark world with dark marketing tactics, sometimes interlinked with the Forex trading apps.
Sway markets, like 99% of offshore brokers, provide these fake gurus with demo accounts, like live accounts, giving them the power to manipulate orders whenever they want and however they want. This, guys, is a common tactic used nowadays by these social media influencers. Watch this.
Alright, so here's the deal.
What we'll do is we'll set you up with a $100,000 profile on our broker server that's going to appear as a live account. So when you pull up MT4, the top left corner is going to have the live account badge, but the account's not going to actually be, it's going to be a test account.
All right, so if I were to like gain or lose money in this account, what would happen then?
Oh, no worries. Well, since the account's not actually real, there's not going to be any real risk of capital. But you can show the profits in the video, and that's going to really boost signups.
Okay, got it. So is this an agreement that you have like with any other YouTubers?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. We have agreements with several Forex traders in the YouTube space. What we like
Losing trades magically transform into massive winners, obviously creating the illusion that they're making millions. Why do they go through all this trouble, you may ask? Well, they earn a hefty sum through their affiliate program with the broker. The more victims sign up and deposit their hard-earned cash, the fatter their wallets become. And let's not forget the dangerous leverage game they play. Sway markets offer an insane 1:500 leverage, which might sound tempting to beginner traders. But the harsh reality is that kind of leverage is a one-way ticket to blow up your trading account. Especially if you're a beginner and you don't know how to control your emotions yet. It's literally like handing a toddler a stick of dynamite and hoping for the best.
Often preying on the vulnerability of financially unstable men particularly, but it's not just limited to men, it can be women, it can be all of in between.
10 pronouns are he, she, they, them, it, gross, what is that?
And we have to understand some of the tactics, some of the tropes that they use in order to combat the things that they are pushing onto us. It seems these days that the algorithm itself is pushing it more and more forward. And in the case of crypto, it can sort of work as a Marxist kind of socialism attempt at redefining not only the stockbroking world, but finance as a whole, alluring even those who would not naturally be attracted to stockbroking and finance and investing into their world with these allures of and pools of.
But there is a new technological institution that will fundamentally change how we exchange value, and it's called the blockchain. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, but if you take nothing else away from this talk, I actually want you to remember that while blockchain technology is relatively new, it's also a continuation of a very human story. And the story is this. As humans, we find ways to lower uncertainty about one another so that we can exchange value.
Revolution changing the world. Can we believe them? I don't know. Some of the biggest issues with Forex trading and Forex trading apps are the sort of lack of regulation that belongs in the Forex trading apps. The companies that are listed on there don't often need to be, they don't go through the same regulatory checks and balances in order to ensure that they are safe to invest in. Now, what does that even mean for those who are novices into this? It essentially means that the companies can fraudulently put out tax papers, fraudulently put out profits. Their white sheets in the case of cryptocurrencies can be fraudulent and exacerbated and lies in the worst case scenarios. That profits the apps in some ways because it allows a sort of freedom of movement, and that's the allure.
When it comes to trading, how many different markets are there to trade in?
Sure.
And is Forex the same as normal trading, or is that completely separate?
The concept is the same, right? Because you could be trading a stock, you could be trading futures, you could be trading options, you could be trading Forex. Like the concept is the same. You're buying something and selling it, right? I'm personally not a fan of Forex. The reason I'm not a fan of Forex is because the Forex market is not centralized. So if you open up a broker and I open up a broker, we most likely will get different prices. You also can't see the order flow of these trades. You also can't see the volume of these trades, the legitimate volume, the legitimate transactions. Now, what I trade, let's say futures, or I trade the stock market. Every transaction that goes on there is by a centralized exchange. So if you and I make a transaction to, let's say you buy Apple, I sell Apple to you, you can see one transaction was done at this exact time. In Forex, you can't see that.
Giving people a sort of maverick feel towards this trading approach. However, it leaves people with wild fluctuations of profit, unsustainable companies, and a very reduced way of making profits. And on top of that, there's a lack of information about it. This is where
their lives. And I can tell you that I have never met a profitable Forex trader. And that should be relatively substantial because I graduated from an Ivy League university and I worked on Wall Street and completed billions of dollars worth of transactions. Here's a pitch book when we sold Metals USA to Apollo, which is a private equity firm, and this deal closed for around $880 million, all right? I worked at Morgan Stanley, CIBC World Markets, a few M&A boutiques, and I can tell you that you are welcome to disregard the message that I'm telling you if you want to try to turn $5,000 into $5 million, but I have never met a profitable Forex trader. Now, there are a few caveats to that. Look, the Forex industry, it's ripe with fraud because you have a substantial counterparty risk, meaning that a lot of people, because Forex is relatively unregulated, you can then go and start up a bullshit exchange like the guys like from Mir Barak or some of the other ones, and you will lose all your money. I mean, you've seen this happen with a lot of the BS exchanges with like cryptocurrency and other things where there was a liquidity crunch and people could not take all their money out. And this happens quite frequently with some of the fly-by-night exchanges that are opened up in like the Canary Islands, etc. But I can tell you that you have no statistical advantage in trading Forex, and not only will you not turn $5,000 into $5 million, but you will lose all of your money, especially because there's substantial leverage. And yes, I know that leverage works on both ends, but I can tell you, again, I've never met a profitable Forex trader.
This is where the social media gurus come in. They come in as a sort of maverick, a sort of relief to the lack of information schools and the world has provided to you about finances. There's a world that we live in now that the USD, the pound, the currencies, the dollar are weaker, and investing in something is better than saving, which is a fact. And they provide you with this information. They show you their decadent lifestyles exported throughout social media.
That's another problem. When you're starting to trade, you might see Instagram, gurus, YouTubers, showing their lifestyle like it's something very easy. And that's a big problem. And also, not to mention those people that want to start Forex, but have such a small capital. And I'm not talking about £1,000. I'm talking about maybe $10, £10. And they hope to make that into such a big amount. I mean, I'm not here to crush your dreams, right? If you're willing to learn and take your time, go ahead. But if you have the mindset of turning your $10 account into 100,000, then try doing that and let me know how it works out.
So guys, I wanted to put this post-edit clip in just to highlight that a lot of the clips I've used and I'm gonna use in terms of crypto are of people that they themselves have a vested interest in, whether that be Forex trading, crypto, or they themselves are selling courses. In the case of the Forex traders, they are selling courses and they make it known.
Entire account, you can risk 1% of your account and you can risk whatever percentage you wish to do so. I just want to mention this video is sponsored by EagleFX. EagleFX is a Forex broker that allows you to have a leverage of 1 to 500.
And they try to use the argument that they are the truth tellers and they themselves are more trustworthy, giving off more holistic advice. And I do agree with their advice, I do agree with their standpoint, and I wouldn't have put them in if I had a funny feeling about them. However, I just wanted to make you known to that fact and just have that cognitive dissonance that sometimes even the people doing the exposés, not always, but sometimes the people doing the exposés, to sometimes the people that are criticizing the Forex traders, the cryptocurrency holders and sellers of the courses, they themselves are very much invested into it. So you be aware that it could be a manipulation tactic, a sort of marketing tactic, that they're the messiah of truth. You find this with Robert Kiyosaki, who is the writer of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the sort of modern day guru of modern day finances. He's kind of marketed himself as the godfather of modern day finances, I should say. He himself has been exposed about his dodgy dealings, his poor financial advice. So you have to be very aware that sometimes these people that use, oh, look how the education system has failed you.
So today I own about 12,000 rental units, but that's not the story. The real story is, how did I acquire those property? I used debt. And that's what they don't teach you in school. You see them where go to school, get a job, work hard, pay your taxes, save money, get out of debt, buy a house, and invest in the stock market. Everybody who follows that program has been brainwashed.
Be aware that they themselves could be manipulated. They themselves could be the snake oil salesman, using that the others are untrustworthy, but I'm the one that's trustworthy. And the fact that I expose them gets your trust. It's a manipulation tactic. Be aware of that. Now, before I send you back to our regularly scheduled program, I'm going to ask you to do one thing: like, share, and comment, and subscribe.
You see, the first seminar was free, they always are. The second one cost almost $500, and the third one a whopping $45,000 at one point. The seminars are largely based on the aforementioned bestseller Rich Dad Poor Dad, quite literally labelled as one of the dumbest financial advice books out there, as it contains numerous factual errors and a string of extremely unlikely accounts of events that supposedly occurred. But for those who haven't read it, Rich Dad Poor Dad is Kiyosaki's story of growing up with two dads. The first, his real father, Poor Dad; the second, his father of his best friend, Rich Dad, and the ways in which both men shaped his views on making money and investing it. Ostensibly, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a work of non-fiction. In reality, however, it does appear to be the opposite. You see, there never really was a rich dad. He was made up, but readers were made to believe that he was real. Kiyosaki has also made an enormously lucrative living from selling his story and actively encouraging others to pay inordinate sums of money to hear it. But these lies are relentless. He continuously attempts to reinvent himself and find ways to stay relevant. In recent times, obviously desperate to remain relevant, he goes on about being $1 billion in debt and entering the red pill space, appearing on any podcast he can to give his cheap hollowed out advice. And he also appears to be very close with Rollo Tomassi, real name George Miller, the so-called godfather of the red pill gurus, where he's had him on his own podcast, Rich Dad Podcast, many times, with the two men even collaborating to pump dubious crypto projects together. And who are the most likely to invest in crypto? Young lonely men who've been trodden on by society and the red pill, many of whom find themselves in financial dire straits, who are told that women only want money, which makes them particularly receptive to the red pill Kiyosaki message. But for Kiyosaki, now 76 years of age, entering the red pill sphere just seems like such a low-level move to make. He is in many ways the grift that keeps on grifting.
And it attracts people in. It attracts people in who are younger, lacking the discernment to figure out exactly who is lying and who is telling the truth, often accompanied by a course or a Discord that you can be involved in for a short price, cheaper than university, and make you richer quicker. Often giving you the words and the verbiage that if you do this, you can turn 10 into 10,000. And if I tell you this now, and if I tell you one thing, that is very, very unlikely. Because if it was true, why wouldn't people turn their millions into 10 millions? Do not be deceived. Do not be fooled by this kind of just rhetoric and snake oil salesman type of verbiage.
I got scammed. So when this whole thing was happening, as I said, I could call him up like every now and again. During the whole period of him having the money and telling me that it takes a week, and then another week for the withdrawal and all this. So during that period, like, he was always on the phone to me, we were talking, he was telling me about trading, about his life, gaining my trust. So I just thought this guy was like, he was just a cool guy. So until the time comes now when, at this time I went on holiday in September, and I got back like late September, and like I wanted that money for my holiday kind of thing. So when leading up to my holiday, like I'm trying to get into it, like I need this money, I need my money, nothing. Got back from my holiday like 2-week holiday, I think it was, nothing. And the trail just went completely blank. Like I couldn't get in contact with him. His phone was gone. Like he switched his number, everything. And up until this day, I still haven't spoken to this guy. So up until this day, I still haven't really spoken to this guy.
There are many horror stories when it comes to Forex trading and the Forex trading courses. Many people saying that the courses were no help. Many people also saying that the courses themselves actually put them into debt, financial debt. They felt pressurized to go into it. And there's a number of stories about how the apps have locked in their money and they were unable to get it out without paying another exorbitant fee. And the one thing I would say when you're getting into Forex trading is do your research. Most of the information online that you would need is already free. It's on this platform anyway. It's on YouTube. Literally, there's so much information online that you can use in order to arm yourself and fill yourself with the correct information, that you don't need to go to a third-party source to provide it for you. These indicators that they give typically are lies, but however, don't take my word for it. Go and do the research.
Not from trading. Trade alerts are almost always manipulated to appear like they work, and one tactic is by giving ambiguous multiple profit targets so that after price reverses, they can just lie and say that the highest profit target was hit. Everything you need to know about trading can be done for free, but you think the cost of something equals its value. Yet if that shortcut your brain does that usually works actually applied to trading, and if normal thinking was enough to be profitable, then we'd all be millionaires right now.
Understand your psychology. Understand the things that elicit you to trade, elicit you to want to act. Are they positive? Are they negatives? Understand your relationship with money, understand your relationship with consuming, spending. This will support you in your trading journey if you want to trade.
Bitcoin.
Let's talk rocket ships.
Can anything slow down the surge we have seen in Bitcoin?
It's the most popular digital currency on the planet. Bitcoin's made some people real rich real fast, and some major companies are buying in.
The world's richest man now investing $1.5 billion.
What's happening with Bitcoin is that people are increasingly learning that it can be trusted.
But plenty of big names won't go near it.
That brings us to the crazy world of crypto. Similar to Forex trading, there's been many scares. Often the people that are promoting the apps, the currencies themselves, are people to beware of. They're typically paid and unaware of the dangers of these apps. There's been many exposés, Kim Kardashian most notably, where they have promoted cryptocurrencies without knowing the dangers of it. There are literal shit coins out there that are used to pump and dump. Many people argue that this is returning the power back to the people. This allows the people to make money back and do the same sort of market manipulation that other companies have done themselves, where they manipulate the market by creating hype, which is okay, which I understand. However, it is very dangerous for those people who may not be as locked into the trade and the ongoings in Reddit and Twitter. And for the biggest part with crypto is, or encrypted currencies, is what the hell is it?
Someone who knows this problem very well is a person who goes by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Whether he'd been burnt by inflation in the past, whether he'd lost faith in the traditional financial system, whether he was just bored looking for an easy way to become a millionaire, we don't know. We're not even sure if Satoshi was a he or a single individual. The only thing that we do know is that Satoshi was the one who invented Bitcoin. In January 2009, this mysterious online currency gets created. It's designed in a way to solve all of the issues of modern currencies. One, it's not controlled by anyone. Its power is decentralized across millions of computers. If one computer, or even 1,000, get in the wrong hands, you still have 1 million others to keep the currency safe. 2, it has a maximum supply of 21 million coins. This way the currency cannot be inflated. This means people like Ryan aren't left penniless simply by doing nothing. 3, unlike gold, the currency can be transferred at the click of a button, which is a very powerful concept. Let's say you wanted to transfer your wealth to a new country. Your current country has turned corrupt, too much crime, controlling government, whatever. Okay, no problem. A few clicks, and you send your money anywhere, any place, anytime. Or if this is too hard, remember your private key password and your entire net worth can literally be stored in your head. It sounds like a pretty good invention.
Many people view crypto as a sort of revolutionary step to bring back power to the people, removing the power from the central banks, removing the power away from governments that have hyperinflated currencies that have lost their value and destroyed savings, destroyed pensions, even destroyed the housing market, providing a new asset, Bitcoin being the biggest thing from it.
Warren Buffett was very clear on his thoughts.
If you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it because what would I do with it?
And his longtime partner Charlie Munger makes him look like some kind of Bitcoin fanatic.
Well, I have a slightly different way of looking at it. In my life, I try and avoid things that are stupid and evil and make me look bad in comparison with somebody else. Bitcoin does all three.
Is Warren Buffett correct? Is Warren Buffett right? Is this a pile of dogmalarchy, or is this something that can revolutionize the world? Is it something worth investing into? Let's take the pros. The decentralization of this encrypted currency provides anonymity, it provides less involvement from the government, it involves transactional safety, where it's gone through this millions and millions of computers to ensure that it goes through safely. With currencies losing their power, Bitcoin seems to be the thing that could support currencies in becoming stronger again, like the gold standard did once. It could also be an alternative solution without the same regulations.
To understand Bitcoin, you need to understand the problem. I'm going to put you in the shoes of a 30-year-old living in the US. It's 2020 and the whole country gets shut down. Yes, that really happened. But this guy, Ryan, has been responsible his whole life. He's worked hard since he was 18, no partying, no traveling, definitely no silly Amazon purchases. He saved up $100,000 to buy a house and to take care of his family. But then the pandemic comes and he decides, I'm going to keep being responsible and lock my money away until times are less volatile. Traditionally considered a good decision. 3 years later, he comes back to his money and he can't buy the house. Prices are 37% more expensive. To fill up his car, it's double the price. That $100,000 that he spent 12 years working so hard for is worth $70,000 in real terms. And that's just 3 years. This is what he gets for working hard, 9 to 5, saving, no gambling, no speculation. He gets hit with what's known in the finance community with the silent tax. The silent tax is not just in the great country of the USA, in most countries, it's much worse. If we used the same example with the same amounts and the same time period, but changed him to being in Argentina with pesos, he would have 15,000 left today. I wish this was a made-up story in some inverse reality, but it's not. The thing we know as traditional currency has got major flaws to it.
So why is Warren Buffett so against it? It's just complete speculation. To be honest with you, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, not many people understand it, and the people that do really are just talking in speculative terms. Speculation, what is speculation?
None of it's true. None of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up.
I forgot to say, nothing. It's really not much. It's really not much. And to add to that, and if you want me to be completely honest, Bitcoin's kind of a Ponzi scheme.
And services. They're really buying access to a Ponzi scheme. Only 1.3% of Bitcoin's economic activity is in merchant transactions. The rest is speculation. People buying it just because they think it will go up. And the more it's used in speculation, the less incentive people have to actually use it as a currency. Why buy something with Bitcoin when you can hold it and make some easy money? That's why the peak of Bitcoin being used to buy things was actually back in 2017, before its price really took off. And a currency should be stable in value, not bounce all over the place the way Bitcoin does. Rises are nice, but Bitcoin also falls a lot. If you want to speculate, that's fine, that's your own business. But you don't want the value of your checking account to gyrate wildly and unpredictably just because Elon Musk has tweeted about it. If you have friends or relatives who are into cryptocurrency, you know that the reason that people are into Bitcoin is because they think it can make them a lot of money. Because Bitcoin is just a digital token without any inherent value, they're not really making an investment. They're engaging in a financial betting game. Anything you invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin just goes into the pocket of the previous holder. There's no real income generating asset behind it. What they're betting on is that other people will bet on it and the value will keep going up. If more people are joining the market, you can make money. You're not a sucker if the person next in line is a sucker too.
In the sense that its basic necessity and need is birthed out of the necessity of people needing to hold it. The more people holds it, the more stronger and powerful it becomes, which is sort of a problem for the general long-term solutions against currencies. For something to be literally, it's worth being held by other people holding it is a bit problematic. Tends to be the opposite of what an asset is. It being an asset that rivals gold, rivals assets of old like homes and businesses, really is a bit worrying when its value is based off other people holding it. I hope that made sense to people, but it's a bit Ponzi scheming. Also, it's wild fluctuations in value, it's wild fluctuations in marketability offer a massive problem. Also, when you look at the transaction speed as a digital currency, you can see it will fail. El Salvador is a big example of that.
Since El Salvador became the first country in the world to introduce Bitcoin as legal tender, along with its regular currency, the dollar. So has the experiment succeeded? The general verdict? Not yet, at least. One of the big selling points of the plan was that Salvadorans would be able to receive remittances from relatives in the US through Bitcoin using a digital Chiva wallet. But according to stats from El Salvador's central bank, most have chosen not to. Less than 2% of remittances went through cryptocurrency and digital wallets so far this year. Then there's Bitcoin City, a planned paradise for Bitcoin enthusiasts powered by geothermal energy with low taxes and crypto mining facilities. It was presented by the president at a bombastic event in November 2021.
Because this is a fully ecological city that works and it's energized by a volcano.
But so far, critics say, that building has yet to begun.
This first bond is...
At the same ceremony, the strategist behind El Salvador's cryptocurrency adoption announced the forthcoming creation of Bitcoin bonds.
The first one is going to be a $1 billion bond. And what makes it a Bitcoin bond is because it's backed by Bitcoin. So half of the $1 billion will go into buying Bitcoin. The other half will go towards infrastructure, specifically building energy infrastructure and Bitcoin mining.
But the so-called volcano bonds have also yet to materialize. Meanwhile, President Bukele has been using government funds himself to buy Bitcoins for the nation, announcing on Twitter when and how much he's purchased. Economists have been using those tweets to work out how those trades have gone.
At the price of Bitcoin right now, we're looking at a theoretical loss of $45.4 million of public funds in these operations. And those are just...
And not to mention, if we're really going down the Marxist socialist route, sorry George, I know you hate that. It burns far too much energy. I mean, it literally burns more energy than Sweden and Malaysia, whole countries. And transactions rapidly make that more exorbitant. It becoming a worldwide currency, not likely. What does that mean for you as an investor? Again, this is not financial advice.
Shut up, you're so annoying!
It means that in the long term, I wouldn't look at Bitcoin. I wouldn't look at cryptocurrency. I myself have made a little money off it. Long term, it's far too unstable. However, the encrypted networks, the decentralization of these platforms and currencies are something that I believe in the future will be taken involved. It can be revolutionary, not just for finances, but for governance, for localization of power, keeping it retained into small groups and removing the power from big government. It has a massive potential going forward. Unless quantum computers come in and destroy the whole thing, which is something a lot of people in cryptocurrencies don't speak about. However, in terms of investing long term, it's far, in my opinion anyway, far too risky.
Most iPhone users probably missed this announcement, but in February 2024, Apple revealed that iMessage had been cryptographically upgraded with post-quantum security, meaning that even a sophisticated quantum computer attack would not be able to brute force hack your iMessage account, which is good news, but it also demonstrates that Apple has enough concern about the potential quantum of hacking to take it seriously. And Apple is one of the leaders in this current move towards quantum-safe encryption, which means that there are still plenty of online services that you probably use that have not taken the same measure. That includes emails, bank accounts, cloud storage, even cryptocurrency wallets like Bitcoin that are literally built on cryptography. It's in the name. These private keys can be brute force hacked by quantum computers.
One of the biggest problems we have right now is that the arms race towards quantum supremacy is not being won by the United States. This is an area where China has taken the early lead. They have the largest quantity of powerful and stable quantum computers. In 2020, then-President Donald Trump announced that the US government would be spending $1 billion per year on quantum computing in America. By 2022, the Chinese Communist Party had committed $15 billion per year for their own quantum development. So that is a bit scary, but is there anything that any of us normal people can really do about it? Well, not really, but it's maybe worth keeping an eye on which services you use that are upgrading to post-quantum encryption, and if it's something that you're concerned about, then maybe consider switching to services with higher levels of encryption. It's not a fun thing to think about, but this is the world we live in.
But it's something to keep your eyes on in terms of the software, information, and the blockchain itself. So in conclusion, what do I really see the future of not just finance and investing, but internet gurus and their lies?
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Buy gold, buy!
Well, other than buying gold, and buying more gold, I had like a joke. I had a way for gold to be around, but I forgot to bring the gold. Anyway, in order to invest and invest well, you will need to master your psychology. You need to understand your relationship with finance, understand your relationship with consuming, understand your relationship to triggers. Remove yourself from the kind of FOMO-like trading that goes on where people see there's a rush for something and they all invest in it. I get that's where crypto has built its energy, its kind of hype over, but as a long-term investor, it's very problematic. It also elicits feelings of jealousy and envy, which in and of itself, if you really want to advance in your life, not just in a spiritual way, but in a financial way, you want to step away from envy a lot. Many investors have spoken about this.
People are less happy about the state of affairs than they were when things were way tougher. And that has a very simple explanation. The world is not driven by greed, it's driven by envy. And so the fact that everybody's 5 times better off than they used to be, they take it for granted. All they think about is somebody else has more now, when it's not fair that he should have it and they don't.
Build your self-confidence, build your research, build your investigative skills, understand the things that you like to invest in. Some people are good at business investments, some people are better at currencies, some people are better at raw things like silver, copper, and gold. Understand yourself and invest that way. Look at market trends. Go down that route. I'm not saying don't buy courses, but be very, very much aware of what you're getting yourself into. Most of the information is free online. And when you speak specifically about cryptocurrencies, encryption currencies, I really think it's a very new software. It literally isn't even 20 years old yet. And to invest with any sort of long-term strategy, I believe could end up biting you in the back. I mean, many are saying that Bitcoin, the biggest one of all, will hit zero. You can see that this is a sort of unstable network that can work for the long term. It may be the future, but as currently constructed, not quite yet. Be careful, arm yourself with information. Don't fold or fall for these manipulative techniques. If you feel deeply pulled to something, ask yourself why, ask yourself how, and ask yourself why is the algorithm pulling you in that direction. And I would say with these apps as well, if you look at any of the research that's done into it, they use gambling techniques, gambling designers as well, elicit and pull you in, making you feel compelled to be involved. It works online, it works on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. You almost feel like you're left out, triggering very much strong feelings of wanting to provide a way out of the rat race. Many of these internet gurus present the rat race as something that is like the 9 to 5 and investing is your only way out, when really the rat race itself is your relationship with money, your obsession with catching money, attaining wealth. When many people tell you wealth is a more holistic approach, I'm not sitting here and saying money isn't important. Please don't crucify me. Earning and working hard for money is important. I literally post these videos to eventually escape my 9 to 5. But understand that your relationship with money is the true escape from the rat race. And that's a lot of things that you won't hear the internet gurus talk about. I hope these clips, I hope my messaging throughout this video has helped you. Put into the comments what you find most worrying about these internet gurus. Put into the comments what you enjoyed about this episode. Put into the comments and like if you like this episode. And if you didn't, well, tell me why. Without further ado, I wish you lot a good day. I just came back from my trip from Japan. I'm gonna literally edit this in one day for you guys. And you know another thing? Don't get me started on the NFTs. I really